It's great to have you with us for breakfast on a Monday morning. Right, it's time to talk politics now, and it is a big week, of course, for the politicians, with the budget being delivered tomorrow. Ed Husic from Labour joins us along with Josh Frydenberg, Liberal MP. Ed, good morning to you. Josh, good morning to you.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Ed.
We'll talk about the budget in just a second, guys, but was it a surprise to you, Josh, that you got an extra member? Tony Crook came on board officially?
Look, it wasn't a surprise because Tony's always been our way, but he has voted with the government on about a dozen occasions, so the fact that he's now formally coming in to our party, into the coalition with the Western Australian Nationals is a real positive for us, and I think just increases the fragility of the Gillard government and the fact that she relies on the independents for her support.
Why is he doing it now, though? Is it really just about him? Is it just Tony trying to look after his future because he looks at the polls and thinks, oh, well, the coalition are going to be in, I won't get a decent job unless I join them?
Well, I don't think so. I think he's been in negotiations for some time. This is, it's been around the media, even last year, that he was thinking of doing this. So I don't think this has come as a real surprise to those in the know, and it's consistent with his long-held beliefs about what the Nationals and the coalition stands for.
Yeah. Ed, do you agree with that, or do you think that maybe the move is self-interest?
I was just reading the papers. Tony's joined the coalition and black caviar runs quickly.
All right, so no news to you then.
Boom, boom. No news there. I mean, Tony's voted, 99% of the time with the coalition, and I'll give you the 0.1% as a statistical deviation. Well, OK, well, the bulk of the times he has, and I don't think it's really come as a shock that he's returned to his ideological fold. You know, that's a decision he's made.
I mean, obviously you're going to say that it makes no difference to the government, but even if it's a small tack, it still is another tack in Julia Gillard's coffin, isn't it?
Well, I understand Tony said that he's, returning to the coalition fold, but that his vote isn't guaranteed. So if he is, serious about legislation and taking the merits of legislation as they come up and making a decision that way, then well and good. But, we'll have to... the test of time will be the passage of legislation. We'll see how it all works and how it all rolls out.
All right, Ed, let's talk the budget now. Are you worried about the delivery of this budget? It is predicted to be the toughest budget in 25 years. And looking at polling now, it doesn't look like it's going to win you any votes.
Well, it's about the biggest thing that this is about is getting a win for the economy, giving room to move for the Reserve Bank to be able to cut interest rates further, and that is good in terms of business investment. This will be important for while we are making cuts along the way, and while conditions are better than what we had to have or deal with during the GFC, we're also making some great decisions along the way. School Kids Bonus will be great out my way, where families who are sending their kids to primary or secondary school will get help with the bill. So I think it's terrific.
You've got the opposition, Ed, saying that just is a sweetener, and really it's more about helping people out with the carbon tax that's going to be implemented very shortly, rather than actually helping them out with school-aged children.
Well, no one's denying that families have got bills to meet and are doing it tough, and what we're trying to do is provide help, particularly in terms of ensuring that kids, as they're going to school, have got their uniforms, have got all the equipment they need, and we'll also, over the course of the month, as we've been saying for the best part of the year, be providing an assistance package to help households and businesses as we move into a future where we put a price on pollution.
All right, Josh, how much of this $820 for secondary students, how much of that is just as a way to cover up the fact that people are going to be paying a lot more as a result of carbon tax?
Well, I think Joe Hockey's absolutely right when he says this is a desperate measure to try to alleviate the pain of the carbon tax. They're giving with one hand and then hitting you with the other with the carbon tax, and as long as that's in place, I think Julia Gillard's government will be toxic. But you've got to understand, Paul, the context in which this budget will be delivered. This government has produced the 4 largest budget deficits in the history of the Australian people. Labor hasn't produced a budget surplus in 22 years, and there's tens of billions of dollars of spending that's not on this in this budget, like on the NBN and in terms of the climate energy renewable fund. So I just think that nobody can take this government at its word when it said it will produce a surplus.
No, and what you're saying is true. What you're saying is true, and people know all of that. Josh, just very quickly, I need to get an absolute definitive for you on this. You're still the Liberals, the coalition, still committed to knocking carbon tax on the head?
Absolutely, and we'll
You will
go to a
unravel
double
this
dissolution.
hugely complex thing. You'll unravel the whole thing because the carbon tax is sewn into the very fabric of Australia's economy now. You'll unravel that whole thing as soon as you get in power.
Tony Abbott has made that very clear, Paul.
All right. Very quickly, Ed, the big winners...
I do like that, and what they'll do is they'll replace it with, they'll get rid of all that, and they'll replace it with the nation's biggest tree planting program. Paul Henry will be sitting on a gum tree next time we talk.
Well, we just don't know, do
And
we?
a few more
But we do
solar
know that
panels,
carbon tax is going to be gone as soon as they get in. Just very quickly, Ed, who do you think the winners... Will there actually be winners in this budget?
Yeah, well, we've already mentioned, for example, or talked about the school kids bonus, and we're also going to be dedicating resources to cutting waiting lists for people who want to get dental care as well. I mean, at the same time, there will be no doubt some people that won't be happy with elements of the budget. You get that every single year. There'll be people that will be happy, and there'll be people that wish that they had more money spent on them or money not taken away, and it's just a fact of life this time of year.
All right. Ed Husic, Josh Frydenberg, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Paul.
See you, Josh.
See you.
And it's been described as one of the